Never eat yellow snow. Winter had come to the island of New Florida, and snow was falling through the night. And the trains were being really useful while they were on the tracks. They operate at night once in a while, but not too often. The passengers love it when the train goes over the tracks. Early one morning, Mr. Cakester had a job for Sasha and Dwee. Gwen, Rose, Casey, and Penny have a freight train today, she said. Sounds like a plan, sir, puffed Dwee. I'm glad it does, said Mr. Cakester. Sasha, you can be Dwee's trailing unit. I can be the leading engine, puffed Dwee. Well, I'm good at trailing, thank you, sir, Mr. Cakester said. Then that's a good engine, said Mr. Cakester. You must get going. Sounds good, sir, Sasha said. And they steamed out of the dweeble. They had to join with Treva. Let's get going, said Treva. And they puffed off with their load. We can handle this job the most, puffed Dwee, 'cause I'm a really useful engine. And then they arrived at the junction. They hooked up to diaper wagons. Well, Gwen, Casey, Penny, and Rose buffered up to the train. All aboard, puffed Gwen. We've gotta get going. And they puffed off with their load. It's always important to be useful, said Rose. You can't eat yellow snow, said Penny, 'cause that's dog's pee. And then there was a car on the line. Watch out, called Gwen. Her driver applied the brakes, but the rails were too icy. We'd better brace ourselves, said Casey. It was too late! Then, fire erupted. We've got to get out of here! Cried Casey. It's hot! And then fire was burning. And it was raging non-stop. It's like we're in a car storm, said Gwen. I hope we don't poop everything out. Because that would be gross. Stream. Thankfully, the driver got out of the car, but luckily, no one was hurt, but steam was hissing. Sorry this happened, said Gwen. And it was a raging fire. Then Sasha, Dwee, and Treva came to pull the units back onto the rails. Thanks for the help, said Casey. Yeah, thank you indeed, said Gwen. They were exhausted. I think we delivered the diapers safely, said Dwee. I have to pull this train alone, said Rose. She puffed with all of her might. She revved her engine and pulled the train slowly forward. And the engines, meanwhile, were in the countryside doing their work. The snow kept falling. Passenger trains were being the best ever. And at last, the containers were delivered safely. And Rose set off to the shunting yard to shunt freight cars. Meanwhile, Shriva had to collect a goods train of 42 cars. And then she puffed off. "I'll make it through the snow safely," she said. "I hope so," said Camden. "You better do a good job." And then Shriva came to Sasha's hill. It was very steep. "I hope I make it to the top," puffed Shriva. Then there was trouble. The second coupling broke. "Oh no, I better stop," said Shriva. "The coupler's broken." "Help!" cried Camden. "I can't stop!" The freight cars were out of control. They were rolling backwards. Camden was going so fast. And then there was a pile of snow on the tracks, and Camden smashed right through it. And then kept going. He rocketed around the curve with his freight cars. He went by a shunting yard. A tree had fallen onto the tracks. It was too late, and then he continued on down the line. Further up ahead, Rose had shunted a lot of freight cars into place. "I'd better save Camden and his freight cars," she said, and she moved forward to try and not eat yellow snow. She braked as hard as she could, but her wheels slipped on the icy rails, and Dwee and Shriva watched in horror as the crash happened. "It's cold down here," shivered Rose. And then LaShonda came into view with Amfleet cars with a baggage car in the rear. "Make way for the Limited Express," said LaShonda. "Express coming through." She was unaware of the derailed boxcar that had fallen into her path. She was chuffing along. "I have to stop when I see the derailed boxcar," she said. She tried to stop, but the rails were too icy, and then it was too late! Luckily, no one was hurt. But LaShonda had gone right into the chilly water. She was freezing. I'm sorry. She shivered. And I'm sorry, shivered Rose. We'll have you out of there in no time, said Dwee. And she and Sasha revved their engines. And they pulled LaShonda out of the chilly water. I can't wait to be warm, shivered LaShonda. Thank you, Dwee and Sasha, she said. After LaShonda was rescued, Dwee had an idea. We can pull both trains at the same time, she said to Treva. Sounds good, said Treva. Then they shunted the freight car into place, and they set off to the shunting yard to watch the video. I'm excited to see which video it is, puffed Dwee. Now that our fireboxes are warm. And she chuffed along the line, with Sasha trailing. The Amfleet cars clattered behind. The coaches clattered. And then they turned the curve very well. With Rose pushing in the rear as the DPU. And at last, the show began. I like that video, puffed Dwee. We did too, said the other engines, and they did.